All right. So I am now sharing my screen, and I'm not sure if the beginning of this call recorded. However, I was just talking about how we're going to go over the various OTAs and tech stack that is preferred to utilize. So first things first, you're going to want to list on VRBO, Airbnb, and Booking.com. So you've heard us mention that in the coaching calls, you've heard it in the modules, you've probably seen it in the circle chat, but these are the three main OTAs. OTA is the online travel agency, once again. However, they're not the only ones. So, there are various theories that the more platforms you're listed on, the more views you're going to get, or the more likely someone will be able to find your listing to then book you direct through your direct website. Or there are other people that prioritize one or two, maybe three online travel agencies and just really focus on racking reviews and listing history and keeping as many bookings on main platforms as possible. So you decide what's best for you. Decide what's best for you to manage and for you to understand and for you to master. So again, VRBO, Airbnb, and Booking.com. Then for your tech stack, you're going to want a property management system. And yes, I do recommend a property management system or a PMS, even if you have just one listing. The reason I recommend this is because the point of getting an Airbnb is to not give yourself another job. We are not buying ourselves jobs. We are buying ourselves investment properties that we then automate or hire out, help as needed. So, um, automations and hospitable are super straightforward. They are life-changing. If you are having to remember to send door codes or lockbox information or check-in instructions or welcome books or anything of the sort manually, then you are creating room for error because as a human, you will forget and you will mess something up or you will miss something. Response time in on the OTAs is extremely important. So having automations gives you the capability to respond immediately to incoming questions, inquiries that you're not even typing out. The system is typing out for you, but you are then immediately responding. So response time is huge. Um, so the Hospitable is the PMS that I recommend. Yes, there are other PMS options out there. Guesty is one. I mean, there's tons of them, and you can even just Google uh, property management systems for short-term rentals, and you'll see all the options. I love Hospitable. I have used two other property management systems, and they're for my needs, particularly. You've got to think about your personal needs, how many listings you have. Um, if you've got tons and tons of listings, sometimes there are better options, but honestly, not even necessarily. So definitely look into Hospitable. If you go on their website, you're going to be able to see everything that they offer. I do recommend getting on a call and having someone kind of walk you through the platform, making sure that it fits into your budget. This is an expense that you add to your expense sheets. This is a deductible expense on your taxes. It is a business write-off. So, I highly, highly recommend Hospitable. Then if we look at additional softwares for your tech stack, you're going to, honestly, at the end of the day, you don't really need Turno or another option is Cleanster because Hospitable is now coming out with a cleaners marketplace, and they are allowing you to schedule with your cleaners all through their app. You can still use Turno or Cleanster. They're even making it so you can pay your cleaner through Hospitable. So if you're not using Hospitable, you're going to want to use Turno, and this is where you're going to post a job for cleaners to make a bid on your listing, and you're going to interview them for cleaning jobs. And then this is where automatic payments are going to get pushed through. You don't want to have to remember to pay your cleaner every single turnover. This does it automatically. Make sure your cleaner understands how to use Turno and they understand that if you find each other through the marketplace, there will be some added fees that the platform takes. If you bring you can find a cleaner, through somewhere else and bring them to Turno, and then there's no additional fees. There are fees if they try to have the same day deposit into their bank account versus waiting a few days for that to process. But this is one I recommend. CleanStir is another, so very similar to Turno. Another software for running, analyzing deals. If you're purchasing a property, if you're getting another arbitrage, if you want to understand your market, definitely an AirDNA subscription is super important. And you want to keep up with the market trends and make sure you're not falling behind in revenue and make sure that you're understanding if wherever you're investing in is a good place to invest based on the data that AirDNA provides. The next technology that I think is a 1000% must is having a Schlag and code smart lock. So you'll want an electronic lock that you pair with your property management system that creates unique codes for each individual guest. You should not be giving all guests the same code. That is a recipe for a disaster. It is not safe, and you don't want to have to manually create your own codes. So that's where Hospitable comes in and Schlag. They talk to each other. So Schlag locks are great. If you're in a beach market, I know that the batteries can get overly humid. I know they don't work as well in beach communities, so do your research about your environment and make sure they're a good fit. But in our locations, we have to change the batteries on these locks once every couple months at most, depending on the property and how much it's used. And it's super easy to change the batteries. Guests can change the batteries in a pinch. Cleaners can change the batteries, and then you should always have a backup lockbox on site as well. But this removes, if you only have physical keys, I promise your keys will get lost, and that will put you in a sticky situation. The next technology you have to have is I prefer Ring cameras. There are other security apps. Ring is great because it allows for you to add additional people to your listing, to your account, and they can. So let's say you hire an assistant or you have a business partner or a husband or whatever, whoever it may be, you can add each other to that Ring account. A lot of other platforms, you cannot do that. Other examples are Blink security cameras. There's Eufy. I have had the best luck with a Ring, and I highly recommend getting the hardwired options versus the rechargeable doorbell option. Yeah, if you have the rechargeable one, you're going to have to recharge it, and there's going to be times where it's really difficult to recharge it. And then the battery will die sooner in really cold environments. So keeping that in mind, you can buy solar panels to help with there's all kinds of things that you can look into to extend the battery life if you do just have the doorbell. But if you can go wired, definitely go wired. I would avoid battery if possible, um, because you'll need to recharge them. Last software that is a must-have in your tech stack is going to be QuickBooks. So get ahead of your bookkeeping. Do not wait until April 15th, which is today, and just get ahead of it. I think that's my biggest recommendation is to find a bookkeeper or do your own bookkeeping utilizing a software. There are ways that you can link up QuickBooks and Hospitable. There's various bookkeeping options within Hospitable as well, but QuickBooks is going to be your best friend or something similar to QuickBooks. So if you don't know how much you're earning and spending in every month, then you don't know your own business and you will have a hard time at tax season. So those are my recommendations. Keeping your tech stack as minimal as possible is my recommendation and as efficient as possible. You don't want to have a million different technologies that you're having to connect and utilize. I just realized that I think I forgot the main one. But you're going to want to use Price Labs as well for your pricing and revenue management software. So definitely look into Price Labs. Again, Hospitable does have their own pricing feature. Eventually, it will be caught up to how robust Price Labs is. I just don't believe it is at this time. Um, But yeah, if you want to stay competitive and utilize dynamic pricing, this is the way to stay ahead of the curve. Most people who have Airbnbs now that are successful are competitive and using the top technologies. So if you don't, not to, just know that you won't be the top performer if you're not utilizing dynamic pricing and using the softwares that help with that. So that is all I have. And, if you have any questions about these softwares, definitely reach out, post in the circle. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week.